sharing some thoughts about some things that we plan to do together in peace and reconciliation work around the world. And when he starts talking about foreign policy and international relations and the struggles that America appears to be having on the international scene, and I can assure you that it's not a problem that's just in the last few years. It's been in several decades. And many of you know as much travel as I do around the world, 6 countries just in the last 8 months, maybe 40 countries in the last 18 months, but I see a lot around the world. And I see a lot of turmoil, I see a lot of instability, insecurity, a lot of corruption, a lot of worry about America. Even though many leaders and people around the world get aggravated with the United States government, they admire, respect, and love the American people because they know that we are people of faith, a people who care about our own, but also reach out to the poor, to the needy, the least of these all over the world. And when I can sit down with a leader in minutes know how much they understand of the importance of foreign relations and international relations, but yet also the core values that make this nation great, to understand that they're both very important for our national interest, our national security. Rick Santorum is one of those kind of guys. I see so many political people out there today that are this deep. Oh, they're good show horses. They say all the right thing. They can give the one speech, but they don't have a whole lot of depth, a whole lot of real clear understanding of the problems that we face, and with the core values and conviction of how to integrate experience in making things happen. And that's the type of leader that this world needs. That's the type of leader this nation needs. Rick Santorum has been a friend of several friends of mine for many, many, many years. Some guys that I work with in Washington on a daily basis around the globe in peace and reconciliation, guys that knew Rick before I knew Rick, who in the confines of confidence and privacy will tell me how they've known this man, his convictions for many, many years. And what you see is what you get. And I was just saying to Karen, now Karen, remind me, how many children y'all have? Y'all have 9? She said, oh no, just 7. He's obviously a family man. And he really, really is. And like me, he married way over his head too. And Karen, I was so surprised to see her here, because with 7 children, you're always, you know how it is, moms, you're the fort. You're taking care of the fort back home. And for her to come down, it's just such a blessing to each and every one of us, because we understand all the pressure and the distractions from being with your loved little ones every day, and Rick to be out here, who I know how much he loves his children, but he also loves our America, an America that seems to be losing its course. But I do believe there are enough American people that will not get distracted with the bells and whistles of distortion and delusion, but will see a candidate that will rise to the occasion. He may not be front in the polls, but I'll remind you that I was 2% in the polls in 1993. Joe, you remember those days when people said you can't do it. Brenda and many of you were out there, Holly, and so many of you out here in the PD. And of course, everybody in the PD knew me. But the people in the rest of the state didn't know me. But we had a vision, we had a message, and we stayed our course, and stayed our course, and kept our message. And then finally the breaks started happening. And I think there's I don't want to say disillusionment, but I think the people in America are looking for that candidate still. You've seen some flash in the pans, you've seen some excitement that came and go. But Rick Santorum is the real deal. You watch him in the debates, he's clearly, from the friends and who I know, the political analysts and the commentators will say, if there's one candidate who really understands a great breadth of issues domestically, from family value issues the understanding of the importance of limitation of government itself, but also the integral relation that the United States plays in international relations and world peace. But knowing that we can't kill the goose and lay the golden egg. And so, Rick, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come, but more importantly, to bring Karen with you. Mary Wood was just so excited when she saw that Karen was here. And so, Rick Santorum is here in South Carolina because he has and shares and believes in South Carolina values. The first primary will be literally in about 60 days, give or take, in Iowa. And I remember this candidate that was in Iowa a few years ago that people said just didn't have a chance. His name was Mike Huckabee. And he crisscrossed across the state of Iowa. And all of a sudden, Iowans spoke because they liked the values of Mike Huckabee. Rick Santorum has been to every county, and I think every city in Iowa, listening and speaking Iowan values, which I found to be pretty much South Carolina values. Two states that share common ideals and values which built this nation. So I present to you a man who is truly prepared to lead this nation, a man who I consider a friend, and a man that I'm glad who's taken time out to be with us. A former senator, and ladies, who knows, hopefully, the next president of the United States, Rick Santorum and his wife, Karen.